Hello, this is London calling. I would like to inform you that you are about to listen to a podcast. The views of the host and the guests reflect only their own and not that of the community as a whole. I hope you enjoy the podcast. And now, Eddie, with his band, will play the banter section.
Yeah, because you're not on TikTok, are you? That's weird.
No, I'm not on TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok. No, I just don't like TikTok. I think that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other amazing, positive conversation I could be part
Okay,
of.
I'm going to steal your identity and create an account and then make people think I'm you.
I mean, I don't think... what would you post, though? Because unless you have access to all of my shit...
Oh, I'm sure I bet I could easily spoof you quite easily.
Yeah, you can be my fan club.
I will actually put in the bio, this is not actually Celery Moon Design.
Yeah.
Oh no, Lusty, that's it. I'm not Lusty Moon.
Yeah, call your TikTok Lusty Moon Designs. There you go. So some of my friends, like today, Sib did it, and Clara's done it as well. If I make reels that have them in it, they'll post them to TikTok.
Yeah.
So I'm vaguely on there in other people's videos. It's just
I've seen you in other videos. It's just when I try to tag you myself, I'm going, oh shit, she's not on it. Damn it.
No.
Hello everybody, this is the Talk About Podcast, a weekly podcast about cosplay, Comic-Con and everything else. I'm your host Eddie, and this week we are talking about MCM is value for money, right? Joining us on the podcast is Lydia from Celery Moon Cosplay. Welcome to you!
Hello. I almost said welcome back, and I was like, wait, no, it's not my podcast. Welcome! Wait, no, that's not right.
Go on, if you were, pretend you're host for 5 seconds, go on.
No, that's too much pressure, immediately too much pressure.
No, too late, you're now hosting for 30 seconds, go on.
No, okay. Welcome to Food and Cosplay, the podcast where I talk about all things food and cosplay. Today my guest is Eddie from Food and Cosplay. Eddie, tell me a weird fact about yourself.
Oh, a weird fact about myself. I own a podcast, but apparently someone else is now taking over it.
Listen, if you're going to impersonate me on TikTok, I'm going to impersonate you. This is how it goes, okay? I'm gonna call my podcast Cosplay and Food, and I'm gonna...
Okay, right. You're not the only person who have just literally just swapped the name of Food and Cosplay and just called it a different brand with something else. So I think there's a Facebook group called Cosplay and Food. I'm surprised. I think there is an Instagram one. I'm not surprised there's a podcast version of it. I don't care. Do it if you want. Just to say, it's not easy hosting a podcast, is it?
No, it's horrible. I hate it. I didn't want to do that. You made me do that. That's on you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I will take the blame, but also revel in it at the same time. Okay, let me bring it back. So, thank you, Lydia. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm at. Do you know what? I'm genuinely in a good place right now.
Oh, I'm really glad.
Honestly, and we're recording this in May, just literally the first day of May. And I'm still buzzing from my birthday. I had you've experienced my birthday last year. I tend to have it a week long. I celebrate about a week long, and oh my god, I'm still buzzing from it. I can't stop thinking about it. I keep looking at the videos that I recorded for that day and that week. It just makes me so happy. I'm still going through the photos of that weekend. Week, and oh my god, can't wait to share some of those photos. Some for Food and Cosplay, some for my other brand. Keep an eye on both if you know which is which. But yeah, generally I'm all right. I'm assuming you're con crunching ready for MCM London, right?
No, I'm not going to MCM London.
What are you doing on this podcast then if we're talking about MCM London? Because I thought you were going to be...
I'm a ray of sunshine, and I'm going to be here with the positive, and no, I'm here to ruin everyone's dreams, all right? It's real talk time.
I was going to say, I could smell some horse manure.
Listen, gang, right, settle in. This is going to be a 2-hour rant about MCM. No, I'm joking.
No. We'll get to it in a minute. But like I always do, I do a proper a mental health check and type of thing. But how are you? Generally, how have you been in the last 7 days?
Because you always ask me this, and I'm always like, "What have I done in the last 7 days?"
So I'm going to ask it, and yet
I'm never prepared. What did I do in the past week? I have got really good news from work, so I'm still kind of buzzing about that, and have been deep in admin for that. So that's been exciting. And one of my best friends is getting married in 2 weeks, and I'm very excited about that. Oh my god, we had a most amazing hen party. That's what I did. So yeah, it's been very good. I'm feeling in a very good place.
Did you wear like a hen suit and anything like that? Did you start like
We went to
pecking at corn?
Ninja Warrior. We went to Ninja Warrior we did
Oh, I saw
hens
the
versus
photos of
stags.
that.
Yeah. Hens versus stags in matching t-shirts. It was incredible. And then we did a murder mystery that I wrote in the evening, where I was the murder victim, and then played various different characters, all with different mustaches. It was incredible. It was such a good weekend. It was great.
I mean, I wouldn't know this myself, but do you always dream of wearing a moustache?
So I have a D&D character called Guy Mansley, Guy Mansley is secretly a woman, and he has lots of fake mustaches. So when it comes to D&D and stuff like that, there are normally fake mustaches involved with me.
Oh God, I don't know. We should be talking about a gender trying to pretending wants to be a different gender. I don't know if I'm very comfortable to those subjects.
So it's based in like the 50s. So she's a 50s housewife, and then basically she doesn't want to be a 50s housewife, so she's a gentleman spy.
I don't think that's how life works.
Yeah, it is. Listen, like, I've passed every check I've needed to. I've slept with other people's wives. It's fine.
What?
Okay?
How many James Bond films have you watched?
Listen, Guy Mansley is his own character. He's great. I love Guy Mansley. I hope he survives another year this year. We'll see.
What do
You
you?
can cut this all out. Don't. This is all nonsense. Ignore this.
Yeah. I don't know. I was merely referring the current narrative in the public eye about trans people that are not trans, even though they are trans.
Oh,
They
well,
are people.
To that I say, fuck J.K. Rowling and anyone fuck TERFs, and come at me if you have a different opinion, because
100%.
2023 is the year of fuck around and find out, and you will find out.
Wow.
What I'm going to say about it, because it is not it's not the time of the year, or it's never the time, but it is not the time to sit on the fence about this stuff anymore.
Yeah, because it hurts if you sit on the fence too long.
Really
but also,
hurts.
tell you something, you being old has really changed you. That's all I'm going to say.
These last 4 years have really changed me.
Oh,
Actually,
sorry.
I'm not 34, that's a lie.
If you're wondering what I'm referring to, I only just found out Lydia's now in her 30s.
Now I'm actually 33. And
oh, sorry. So she's been in her 30s for a few years now, and I don't know why. I just assume everyone's in their 20s, a lot younger than me. So
to be honest, most people. I got a lot of comments when I posted that, and a lot of people just think I'm not. I don't know if it's just because I'm an idiot and people just are like, "There's no way she's got her life together," or a lot of my friends are younger, or I don't know. It's just it's.
Oh no, I genuinely think because you were born in Hong Kong, a little bit of like Asian culture, you soaked it in, and you have remained young.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah,
because like I don't know if I mentioned if we said it off air or not, but I said no one knows my age, so I just lie about it. How old are you, Ed? 83. No, you're not. Sure, whatever. Just I there's no point. No one believes me. I'm 40. No, you're not. Why would I lie about my age, especially at the age of 40?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. You've already done a podcast on being over 30 and stuff, but I just think it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you're still having fun, as long as you're like doing whatever you want to do, you're not hurting anyone. What does it matter? Yeah. I mean, eventually I will get too old for cosplay, but that's like a different conversation.
Oh well, don't know. Does cosplay really have an age limit?
For me, I think it does, because I think I still enjoy making stuff and I still enjoy photography, but I think it will get to a point where I won't want to take photos myself. Because I think for me personally, there's only so long as I can pass as like a 14-year-old boy. Like, at some point, I'm like, you know what? I need to start like doing the older characters, and they're just not as much fun. So we'll see. I might change my mind.
We're going to brainstorm some good, cool older people.
Go for
you to cosplay. Yeah, like Indiana Jones. Come on. He's coming.
I don't do live action. Live action's boring to cosplay.
Fine, we'll kill him then. All right, so he can be dead. Dead action then.
Give me some like cursed anime boys that are Yeah, I'll do the old Coach Yukai from Haikyuu, the old grandpa guy. There we go.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, we're talking about. Let's get back onto the subject of what we're talking about. We are talking about MCM London. So I've been saying for many podcasts how I would change the money structure of it of MCM, and we're going to talk about basically. So this is a conversation between me and Lydia, and we thought, do you know what? If she consented to this, let's have this conversation out in public because, as you heard earlier, she's not going to MCM London. I asked her, "Oh, you know, you didn't book with me. Is there a reason?" She, "Oh, I'm not going." "Oh, okay." And I said, "Oh, why?" "Because it's just too expensive." I'm like, "All right, let's have a talk about that." Because I'm not saying I want to convince her to go to MCM London. I want to know why she's not going, and I'm sure it's not just. I like to think it's not just price. I'm sure there's a whole lot of things.
Oh yeah, it's not just a financial thing.
Yeah. So, but let's break it down bit by bit, and let's talk about the ticket price. Assuming you were going to get, or you could get, a weekend ticket, which is priced at £90, is that too much for you for a 3-day event at the Excel for what's there? Is that too much for you?
So I think £90, when you break it down, that's like £30 a day, right?
Mm.
And you know, when you work it out that way, it's, you know, that sounds like a good price. It's £30 a day. That's great. But I've been going to MCM since 2013. That was my first MCM. And I would argue that since 2013, where I think it was like £25 for the weekend, I cannot remember. Someone call me out on what the actual prices were back then. But for a weekend from 2013 to 2023, that's 10 years. The way that the prices have, oh my god, I can't believe I've been doing MCM 10 years. Sorry, that's just hit me.
Welcome to my world when everything is, oh my god, I've been doing this for
10
X
years.
amount of years.
Shrek being
Jesus.
22, like fully, I had to go sit down for like a whole day when someone told me it was 22 years of Shrek. Anyway, so if you compare how much the prices have increased to how much the con has changed, I don't think it is parallel. I think that they are now charging a lot more for not a lot less, but not the same. It's not been the same growth. And I always have a good time at MCM. Normally, there's been one or two, but like normally I have a good time at MCM. And I don't think the ticket price is unaffordable. I don't think it's unreasonable. It's not MCM's fault that, you know, the hotels go insane because they know they can and stuff like that. That's not their fault.
No, but we will talk about the hotel prices in a moment.
My issue with the price they charge is purely on they increase it every year and there's no reason other than inflation. Like there's no real reason for them to increase it because Artist Alley, which is my favorite part of MCM, gets smaller every year. This year they've changed the masquerade rules and they've changed how masquerade is run, and that's also a huge part of me going. They've got worse with dealing with photographers in that, like, some people last year were stopped for having gear being too professional. I mean, security, I guess, again, is not them, that's Excel, but security has got steadily worse as well. And I don't go to con for panels and I don't go to con for guests because I think it's going the way of, is it LFCC, where you pay an entry fee and then you have to pay for everything inside?
Well, you can argue, you're. To be fair, I think that's the same for all events. You pay an entry fee, but everything in there you have to pay for.
But I don't agree with that because, well, if you are going to do that, then your entry fee needs to be much lower because otherwise you're paying £90 to get in, and then you see one guest, and that's what, like £65, if that anymore.
Yeah,
So
it depends on the celebrity. Yeah,
but then that also trickles down into the fact that Artist Alley is then affected because people have less money to spend on these small independent businesses because they've spent so much to get in. And that's the other thing, is that they're also charging more for vendor tables. And they're now charging artists, if you have fan art, you can no longer be an Artist Alley. You have to be on a vending table, which are like a lot more expensive. So it's like you're making all this money, you're increasing your ticket prices, you're increasing your vendor prices, you're making independent artists who happen to do fan art have to pay full commercial prices for a stand rather than an artist stand. And it's like, at what point are you giving that back to not the community, but at what point are you showing that money in improvements? And I just don't think they are. I mean, I work for a huge company We have like 86 offices across the world, and every year it's all about profits. So like I know how a company runs. I realize that they have, shareholders, and I know they have to make how money, and that the graph has to go up. You can't just like be the same. But on the same thing, like you got to show some kind of return for what you're doing, and I just don't see that, and I haven't seen that in the last couple of years.
No, I totally get your point. I'm going to play devil's advocate and just try to.
You're gonna have to today because I'm like,
you are on it. You are on it like a bonnet. And oh gosh, should I say it like that? You're just on it. I'm just going to say it like that. Just to confirm something, I found an article written in 2013 that said the ticket prices for a weekend ticket for MCM is £29.50.
oh, I was close. Oh my god,
you are close.
Thank you, memory.
Yeah.
Normally it fails me, but not today.
Not today. So I would say, okay, so let me put my 2 cents in first before I play devil's advocate. I totally agree. Like today, in this day and age, I totally agree with you that for £90, I'm thinking, what do you get for that? That's essentially, like you said, £30 to get through the door. I don't think I'm getting £30 worth per se getting through the door, but then I'm a photographer. I'm only just hanging out on the outside. I only spend like literally 2-3 hours on the Friday morning, and then that's it really. I'm outside all weekend. But when I do look inside and have a look, I just feel like nothing's expanded, nothing's grown as an attendee. Like I said, we've both been going for 10 years plus. Well, I've been definitely for 10 years plus. And it seems to still be in the same, if not the same size hall, but just in recent years, definitely feels like it's not really grown. I know who people have listened to this podcast who've probably got bored of me saying this. Like New York Comic Con, I paid $200 and they take up the whole venue, and I feel like I get value for money. I get so much free merch from everything. There's like a whole floor or an area for Artist Alley. So I wish Repop would actually do something similar to that by literally booking out the whole venue. Now, being devil's advocate, I'm trying to think why haven't they expanded, and I wonder if it's not themselves per se. Like you said, they've got a turn of profit and all that. Totally understand. Wouldn't want to take that away from them. But are we assuming that the venue itself, the Excel, haven't changed their pricing over the 10 years?
Oh yeah,
since...
no, I definitely think that Excel is part of that. But I also think, so I don't think the Excel would have increased their prices as much as, I don't know, I can't say because I don't work for Excel, but you have to remember that like if you compare it to other big conventions, I know it's not the same, but it's the motorcycle one, the other MCM. Their prices haven't increased in the same way. And they also, like, they have volunteer staff and they have paid Excel security. So it's the same as MCM. So I'm pulling like facts out of my butt, but like, I know someone's going to call me out on this, but like, I know that their prices haven't seemed to gone in the same way. And I think a lot of other conventions that happen Excel are the same. So whatever they're doing to keep their ticket price reasonable and keep it at that similar level is something that MCM either isn't doing or they're doing and then just taking the profit because they know people will pay it. And this is a conversation I've had with, when I said I was coming on to talk about this, I had a bunch of my friends be like, yeah, but this is the con we go to be social. And I was like, but it doesn't have to be. It just is.
Yeah, I've always argued if you can't afford to go, then just set up your own location shoot and just have friends.
Not even that, like MegaCon exists now, MCM Brum exists. There are other conventions that could be the one that you see all your friends at, and like
absolutely,
all my friends live across the UK. The nearest friend to me is an hour away, so it's not like
that's by choice, by the way.
Yeah, but it's some people are like, oh, my friends live so far apart. This is our only chance to see each other. And it's like, yeah, I get that. That's me as well. But like, it doesn't have to be MCM.
Yeah, it could be any event. No, absolutely. So you'll say in the 10 years, let's assume that from a £30 10 years ago to £90 today, the increase in the venue cost hasn't tripled. In a sense, it's tripled in price. Yeah, that does sound like quite a lot, actually, now saying out loud. But I was going to say, there has been rumours, and I'm only going to say rumours. I've heard this, but there's no hard facts that I've heard. I'm just saying this is what I've heard from different people. So when MCM obviously started, it was by one set of people.
Mhm.
They sold it to Repop, I would say about 5-6 years ago now, I would have
Yeah,
said.
it's been a while.
It's been a while now.
I think people forget how long Reed Pop have actually been. Like, it's very easy to blame Reed, but actually they've been in charge of it for quite a long time. I think people forget how long it's actually been them. It's very easy to be like, oh, it's only been this few years. And no, they've been in charge for a while.
For a while, and you don't know how. I think that was. I might have to look this up later, but whatever they pay, I don't know if they're still paying it off in a sense. Are they still trying to recoup as much money back to get that profit as well as cover the costs they did to pay for it? You don't know how
Yeah.
these things work. So you could argue that price we're paying now is £90, not just for triple fold of the the use of the Excel Center, but it's other things on top of that we don't know. I think but putting my Eddie hat back on rather than devil's advocate hat on, I do get a bit pissy that for that amount of money, we don't really get big vendors that turn up anymore. Like, really, no vendors.
No, you don't get
Like,
the same big guests that you get in New York either, or the same big
No.
releases, or when you see New York and you see all these big American cons, like everyone I've spoken to that have been to an American con are like, it blows anything in the UK out of the water.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, because it's run by Repop, I can't understand why they can't pull. I've said this on previous podcasts. Why can't they have just one AAA announcement, either from a BBC show like Doctor Who or Marvel, DC, something like that?
I think it's the time of year.
It's a time of year. It's also, it would have been like 4 weeks straight after New York Comic Con, because New York Comic's the beginning of October,
Yeah.
and MCM London. Okay, sorry, I've just realised what I've just said. But if they have it in October, it's like a 3-week difference, 4 week difference, because it's New York is the beginning, and then at the end is MCM London. You got May as well. You could announce something there, but again, it's like, what do you announce? Do you announce something that's gonna happen later?
Yeah, I think May is just the wrong time of year for announcements, because a lot of like things will come in the autumn or they'll come in the spring. There's not. Well, I guess there are some summer announcements, but then May's too early for that. Like, it falls in a
It's a
period.
weird black hole. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in my brain, I don't fault Repop in a sense why they've tripled the cost from 10 years ago to now.
No, I mean they're a commercial business. Like,
they've got to make money.
Yeah, that's completely it.
And when you mentioned about they mentioned about like the what's it called, merch stores and all that, the table hire, that's gone up as well. I feel like the people who last ran it in a way that made sure that people came back rather than they made a profit.
Yeah, I think it's very telling. Like, having been to MegaCon, which is obviously run by the people that used to do MCM.
Yeah.
The vending and the artist alley was so much better than the last few MCMs. Like, it was notably better. And I know there was a few complaints with a lot of MegaCon, the first one, where a lot of people, because the weather was so nice, no one stayed inside the con.
Oh, yes.
So I know a lot of vendors did struggle, but I mean, I still went around Artist Alley. I still bought a load of stuff, and I have friends who are vendors and in the vendor like groups and stuff, and they said that it was worth it. And they, all of them have gone back, so that's like kind of telling. I think that they have gone back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a vendor, so I can't say. But for my friends,
no, neither of us are vendors.
Vendors.
Yeah. We both talk to vendors. We hear some things, and I don't want to reveal who told me what. But like I said, it's.
I think it's shocking that you can't now be a you can't be an Artist Alley if you have fan art, because so much of independent artists is fan art, because that's what's going to sell. It's like, original stuff is amazing as well, and I love buying original art, but what's going to bring people to your table will probably be fan art, right?
Yes, no, but I think I don't know if there's I don't want to talk about this because I've got zero knowledge on this, but I wonder if it's a copyright issue.
It's a copyright thing. That is basically what it is. But I remember MCM 2 years ago, there was basically just black market happening fan art. It was incredible. So you'd go up to like the artist and be like, I know you've got Final Fantasy 14 fan art, and they'd like open out the folder and you'd be like, okay. You couldn't have it on their stall, but like you follow them on Instagram, you know they do it, you know they've brought it with them.
Sorry, it just sounds like a back alley stuff going.
It made it
I
way
hear-
more fun because everyone was like handing out like the secret folder and stuff, and yeah, it's But I do think it's a real shame. I think it's
Yeah, I know. It just sounds like that's you go up to the vendor and go, I hear you got Final Fantasy fan up. The secret code, Chocobo,
You a cop?
Chocobo,
You work for MCM? No, I'm clean.
Chocobo, come this way, down to the basement level with a wooden, fire torch going down the staircase,
Just to get some Chocobo stickers. Yeah, it did make it quite fun, but
yeah.
yeah, like I understand whether I think there's the story of the Nintendo artist where she got like fully just told to leave, and I think that's what triggered it. I don't know how true that is, but like,
well, I know that there was someone who did their own version of Disney Against Humanity.
Okay.
Yeah, so someone was able to buy a set and went, okay, cool, I will go and get another set the next day for a friend. But when they went the next day, that store disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, it no longer existed. And then obviously word got around that Trading Standard popped up and went,
But then on the same thing, like if you go into the vendor, I'm going on to a rant about vendors now, but if you go into like the commercial bit, there'll be commercial stands selling fake figurines and like selling fake Nendoroids, and they don't get pulled up. And it's like, and those mystery boxes, do not get me started on MCM mystery boxes, because those are scams. They're literally just scams. And I'm like, how are they allowed to exist? But somebody that's drawing, funky Trigon art isn't allowed to. Like, it's not like anyone's like, they're not taking money out of Nintendo's pocket if you've got Animal Crossing. I mean, you are, but like, then maybe Nintendo should be making some cute Animal Crossing stickers. I'm just like, there's a difference between an independent I've got a completely different category of podcast now, but like, there's a difference between an independent person selling art and one of those big vending stalls that are selling fake figurines for a lot of money, and yet that's okay. And yeah, I don't know.
No, I get you. I totally get you. Let's go back. Let's bring it back to the subject.
Yes.
As I keep saying, with my idiot hat on, I wish they just booked out the whole venue and just bring in vendors. I think the only reason they can't bring in the big vendors, like I said, the BBC and especially like Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers, those type of studios, that type of thing, I think it's because they're American based. They're based in the UK, to bring like not just personnel but like set design, stage,
Did you
designs.
go to Star Wars?
I did not. Fuck no! I hate Star Wars.
Oh, okay, yay, me too. I don't hate Star Wars. I don't care about it. But I have friends that went to Star Wars, and the main comment I got was like, it's filmed at Pinewood Studios. It's like a lot of it's based in the UK. Why are there no props? Why are there no set? Why is there no like a lot of it was kind of...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a lot of people that were disappointed about what they'd actually brought, because you'd think, so maybe it's an XL thing. Maybe XL was really hard to get these big things in because Star Wars can't, like...
No, they've got big... I'm sure I've seen big bay doors that they can open up and just bring... Like, they've had cars in there.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they charge way more or something, but, like, I think it's surprising that also, like, Star Wars, which is a huge thing, it's not just, like, a one-off, it's, like, a huge global con.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the feedback I got was that it was kind of poor.
But remember, it's also... Star Wars Celebration is also run by Repop.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
So maybe it's a Repop thing.
It could be a Repop thing. It could be,
because I don't know what Star Wars Celebration in the US was like. It'd be interesting to see if they had.
I've had a friend who's been to Star Wars Celebration in Germany, and I think I heard that they said it was a better experience in Germany. They didn't go to the London one. They just said that was a good experience, the German one. Anyway,
so yeah, this is not Star Wars. Who are we?
Yeah, I know. I think what we're basically saying that we could attribute that the cost of the ticket based on inflation of just hiring at the venue. That could be that, or the money that Repop paid to buy MCM off the previous owners. But I think from every person who like goes, that cost doesn't really feel like it equates to what you see in the hall.
Yeah, I think it's not up to it's not the consumer's fault that they bought a con. Like, it's up to them to make that money back. And I don't know, £30 a day doesn't sound that bad, but I think if you compare it to
if you go to,
similar,
because you can, if you go to, like you said, MegaCon Live Birmingham, I think I paid £30 just for a weekend ticket rather than, all right, it's only 2 days, but still, it's quite.
I'm going to say something controversial yet brave, and that is that
go
MCM Birmingham has always been the better MCM. There, I said it. You can come.
Oh, really?
I love MCM Brum, and I know it gets a lot of flack for like not having nice photography locations. There are. You just got to know where they are. Like,
thank you. I agree with you on that. I absolutely agree with you with that point.
I think it's a lot more interesting place to shoot. I think it's a nicer layout. It's normally like less crowded the way they lay it out. It's got better food options. It's cheaper. It's easier to get to. Well, maybe not easier to get to because London's pretty easy to get to. But
well, no. I think generally it's easier because you've got a direct train from Birmingham to Birmingham.
Yeah, because XL is in London, but it's like the arse end of nowhere when it comes to London.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that's my spicy hot take, is that I've always said that MCM Birmingham. I've always had a better time at MCM Birmingham. It's just I just think it's the better con. But everyone loves London. Everyone loves those trees. They love those grey walls.
Fuck you with the grey walls. Fuck you. Get out. Get out now.
I didn't say I do. I'm all about the blue wall and the pink wall and the lake and the woods and the upstairs and there's.
Oh, don't tell me about the upstairs. Don't know.
No, okay. A couple of years ago, the upstairs was great, but now, it's crowded up there. But like, there are still so many cool places to shoot. I mean, not if you're a Disney princess, but then like. You can still make it work. There's the lake. There's the outside. There's the woods.
Absolutely, 100%. No, I've got opinions about the upstairs, but I'm going to have to leave that as a private note to myself. Okay, let's talk about other things surrounding the event itself. Okay, so mainly let's talk about the hotels, because that'd be the easiest one to talk about. I think we've all seen it. Hotel prices are just going up, not just by a little bit. Like it's shooting up.
Ridiculous.
I was just talking to a friend now who's just. I think they said they had a hotel room for the MCM weekend in May. That was going to cost them £600.
Oh, no, that is flights out of the country. This is the thing. I calculate everything in flights and holidays. So, like, I have a base price in my head of how much it costs me to get to Japan each time. And as soon as you're in, like, the £600, £700, I'm like, that's my hotel for 2 weeks in Japan. Why would I spend it for a weekend in London? And that's my biggest like problem with MCM, is that you can do so much more with the money. And like staying over is so much fun at MCM. 100%. I love it. It's so much more social. It's a lot more chill, especially if you've got like big cosplays. And I used to live in Reading, and so I used to train in from Reading because it's pretty easy to train in. Well, not. It's all right. It's doable from Reading to the XL every day. And then I stayed over one time, and I was like, oh my god. This is so much more fun. You see your friends for longer. You see different friends. There's like nighttime stuff. It's a lot more fun. But also, like, I remember coming back was it the first time or the second time I stayed for a weekend? And I was like, I just spent like nearly £800 and it was one weekend. And I had to sit there on like the Monday, the con blues are hitting me hard. I'm sat at work and I'm like, how did I spend that much money in 3 days? And now, maybe it's because I'm over 30, but now I'm like, I can't justify that. Like, even if I could justify the tickets, the hotels, I mean, there's nothing we can do because obviously,
well,
they can charge what they want to charge, but it's.
I think. Well, okay. Here's my hot take about the hotel cost. I think they're going to go up anyway, regardless, because obviously, if a popular event becomes more popular, obviously the hotels are going to sniff out and go, "Oh, is this event getting more popular? We can jack our prices just a little bit." But I think what also doesn't help. This is my hot take. If a room says it holds 2 people, do you know how many people should be in there?
2 people.
Right. If you put 5,000 people in there, of course the hotel people are going to go, some people are trying to take us for a ride.
So
okay.
This is something like I get really, not passionate about, I guess that's the wrong word, but like,
is it you that's putting 5,000 people in a room?
I mean, like, it's a safety hazard. It's a fire hazard. It's frustrating because you're also then impacting other guests, and it has that repercussion of hotels being like, right, we're not doing that again. Time to put our prices up to cover the damage, or time to put our prices up to cover these things.
Yeah, that's my other thing I was about to mention. Is like, if you fucking trash the room and think it's funny, you're the problem. No ifs or buts. You're the problem.
Oh yeah, like
You're
it's also such a lack of respect for people that work in the hotel. Like these are people like that just are doing their 9 to 5. Like they're not the ones that set the prices, and they're the ones that are gonna have to clear out your shit when you check out. Like that's just some poor minimum wage person trying to do their job, and then they'll complain, and then the hotels will be like, "Well, we don't want those kind of people to stay again. Time to price them out." Like you're only hurting other people by being a dick to hotel staff. Like and I mean, I think a lot of the hotels putting the price up is greed more than like things that cosplayers have done. I think it is like we can charge this. Why wouldn't we?
No,
like,
but
you go on Airbnb con weekend and there's like someone's crappy spare bedroom, like a sofa in someone's spare bedroom, and it's like £200 for the weekend. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. But like people will try. But yeah, I think there's not much you can do about hotels because it's the same as going to a gig. It's the same of doing anything where it's supply and demand, right?
Absolutely, no, 100%. And like I said, I think we can all agree those prices was going to go up anyway, but it only accelerated because I do think I'm not just attributing all cosplays.
No,
other events that are non-cosplay related, I'm sure other guests have gone, it's not my home, I'll just trash it as well. They've also gone, fuck this, we'll like you said, price up those people out. I think it hasn't helped the matter of why the hotel prices have gone up, especially quite exponentially.
I mean, it's supply and demand, and the problem is that people will pay it, and it will never go down as long as people still pay it because people want to stay next to the con. They don't want to travel. I mean, I've stayed in. Is it Bexley, the one that's one stop off on the DLR?
I'm going to nod my head. That sounds familiar.
It's like one stop off the DLR the wrong way. So like you go, it's like a 20-minute walk. But I've stayed there before, and it was so much cheaper. And yeah, it was a bit of a pain that I had like, I don't know, like a 15-minute DLR ride in every morning. But like, it was so much cheaper. So like, there's still reasonable hotels. They're just a little bit further away, but people won't pay that.
Yeah. Do you know how much I pay to go to stay at well, not stay, but to for MCM weekend?
No.
£8 a day.
Well, because you train in.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean I have friends who live in London, and so for them MCM makes perfect sense because they get to see everyone and they don't have to pay accommodation.
Yeah,
because that's the major outlier is definitely accommodation. It just is, and then like, yeah, I'd say accommodation and then probably food at XL.
Oh, that's the other thing I want to bring up is the price of food. I get there's nowhere else to eat really at MCM London or any other event any other Comic-Con event. You're literally stuck in that area. I mean, the one I can think of you could possibly go out and eat elsewhere, maybe Manchester, because it is in the city centre, so you could leave the event, go into the city centre.
I think Brum has the Weatherspoons, and so that's like already cheap food, and it has the little co-ops, so you can eat relatively cheaply at Brum. But I don't think MCM's that bad for food if you know where you're going. Like there's the gyoza stand where they do the onigiri, gyoza, and yakisoba. That's really decently priced. You can get like 3 onigiri for, I think it's not that expensive, and like that will fill you for the day. Well, I'm a cosplayer. That will fill me for the day. Like that's all I need. 3 onigiri and I'm done. And then you just you bring loads of food to your hotel. Like I think you can do it cheaply, but then I think if you're somebody that goes to the Fox or goes for a meal or does eat properly and looks after yourself at con, then your food costs are going to be high.
Yeah, because knowing that I don't have an actual accommodation cost, I can go to the Fox and go, can I have a meal, please? I mean, that's not how I ask for food.
I really hope not, because that was weird.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Can I have a meal, please? I'd be like, this man is weird.
1 meal, please?
Yeah, I would be like, someone else needs to take this table. I'm not serving this guy. Your finest meal, please.
That guy just keeps saying he wants 1 meal. He doesn't say what meal, just a meal.
Yeah,
is that a person called a meal? A meal?
You definitely. This is the thing with con is it can be as cheap or as expensive as you want. Like if you really want to do it cheaply, you buy a weekend ticket, you stay far away, and you don't eat at con. Like it's like going to Disneyland or doing anything that's expensive or going to like a gig. There are ways to make it more affordable to you. But I think like the my like the TLDR of it all is I just don't think it's worth it. And I think if you are doing it like the cheaper way, where you are, staying far out and bringing a packed lunch, whatever, you don't get the same experience as somebody who is willing to spend that money. And I think that's a bit of a shame that it is so disparate.
Oh yeah, because like they can literally charge whatever they want,
and because
and
people
you're
will
right.
pay it, and that's what makes me sad, is that people, or not makes me sad, but it will never change as long as people keep paying for the hotels, paying the money. I remember the COVID year where they put the prices up and everyone kicked up a fuss, and they agreed to like freeze the tickets, or like
I think it went down actually. Yeah, so
yeah. So
when it came back and then dropped a little bit.
yeah, so it
and then
can be done. Like you can vote with your money and say, look, this is unacceptable, and Report would have to do something about it. It's just
I think they. Okay, all right. So my argument about the first con back for London when it came after the pandemic was they could only have X amount of people at the venue because of government rules at the time.
Yeah.
The rules were relaxed for the next one. I don't know if it was at full capacity by
I don't
May.
think it was at full capacity, but then everyone was coming in and security weren't checking tickets, and it got over capacity because of that. But that's a whole other problem. I think they really cash in on FOMO, and I think everyone wants to go to MCM May. It's the one everyone goes to. It's a lot of first cosplayers' first con. It's the one everyone knows about. It's the one that everybody goes to, and I think it's really hard to go against that, to say like I'm not going to MCM.
I think it doesn't help like you and me are posting about it. Well, I mean, I know you're not going this year, but in previous years, we'd talk about it a lot. Oh, I'm going to MCM London. I'm doing this. I got this photo here. I'm working with this person. I'm working with that person. I'm bringing up my big cosplay, outfit for this event.
Oh my god, I would never bring a brand new, like important cosplay to May.
No, but I do not. But I know others who've done that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like if others are saying, oh, they're bringing their A game to this event, I should bring mine as well. It's that type of mentality that feeds off each other. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or not a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what I've seen and experienced.
Yeah, I think it would be good if they did. They never would, but if they did tiered tickets where they had an outside ticket that was just for the outside for the shooting experience, and one that was for the inside as well that allowed you to do the panels and stuff like that. Because then you could have a cheaper ticket that would just be for socializing and for taking photos and that element of it.
I get what you're saying, but I
they
also
never
feel
will.
like no, they won't, because I can imagine how much of a headache that would be to police that.
I mean, they don't even police tickets at the moment, so
exactly. And I like the idea of it, but I mean, you could also argue if you're going to shoot at MCM, but you don't have a ticket, you can just say, "Hey, look, I can be in London. I can be near the venue. Could you come to me outside the barriers? We'll go somewhere else." You can't shoot on the grounds of the Excel area, even beyond the fence area, because that still counts as the grounds of the Excel. So if anyone goes, "Oh no, but the fence is here," the fence ends here. Doesn't mean that's where it ends, or what the Excel property is. Before anyone goes, that's my bugbear. So you as long as they're away from the venue, then you can get you can do it that way around.
There are photographers that do that, and there are cosplayers that do it where they take advantage of everyone being in London and go and do something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great location.
Okay, so let's talk about it now. Let's talk about this bit now. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, I now mainly go to Comic-Con just but effectively for cosplayers. I go there to take photos. All right. Now, for £90, is it then worth it to be amongst literally as many photographers as you can get over a weekend, and to be able to work with different photographers? We won't talk about quality or if you get photos back or anything like that. Let's park that to one side. But to get to spend 3 days over a weekend, spending as many and work with as many photographers as you like for £90, that's a bargain, isn't it?
See, if you'd asked me that like 2 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, everyone should go to MCM. It's a great chance to meet and network with photographers. If you ask me that now, I don't know. I've been burned by too many photographers at con now and out of con as well. But like, I only want to work with photographers I know or whose work I enjoy. And personally, for me, it's quite awkward if someone wants to shoot with me and like I'm not feeling it on the day, or like it's con, I'm tired, or I have another shoot booked. It's quite. I guess photographers get it too, where cosplayers like, oh, I want to shoot with you, and you're like, oh, I don't really want to shoot with you. So
Yes,
like,
I know what you mean. Yes.
it's tough to let somebody down, but like.
Yeah.
The last, not last 2 years, but like definitely the last year, I had some really bad experiences with quite a lot of photographers. I put a post on my story about it, about how I only want to really work with photographers I know, and like, or you can, people can still DM me and be like, oh, I'd love to work with you, and I'll be like, yeah, sure, like if I like your work, and like, it's not just. Yeah, depends on what's on your feed, but yeah, like 9 times out of 10, I'll still want to work with people, but I think it's exhausting to run the gauntlet of going shoot, 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 and then on the other side, it's really scary, or not. It's not scary. It's like two extremes, right? You go to con and nobody notices you. You get no photos, even though there's all these photographers there, and then you feel bad about yourself and your cosplay because you didn't get the experience you were expecting at MCM. But then on the other side, it's the thing of like not seeing any of the con or any of your friends because you're so focused on like getting photos with every single photographer in the same tree line. Like, I just don't think it's worth it anymore. And I've done studio days where we've had like lots of photographers. We've hired a studio with a few photographers, a few cosplayers, and that's still an opportunity for you to shoot with a lot of variety of photographers, have more interesting backdrops, probably work out cheaper than MCM. Yeah, you don't get the social element of it, but like there are alternatives, I think, is the thing I'm trying to say. I'm rambling again. There are alternatives to going to MCM if you want to work with a lot of photographers. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Is
No, that's fine. I mean, that's not what I thought you were going to say, but then I've remembered how much you're not going to MCM London, so
well,
I should have expected that.
like I said, if you'd asked me like 8 months ago, I would have been like, yeah, it's such. I mean, I've met some of my favorite photographers, some of my favorite friends. Yeah, I met Eddie. Yeah, like the people,
thank you.
The people I want to work with, I probably worked with them first at MCM May, but I think that was like 6 or 7 years ago, and I think it has changed, and I think it's easier than ever to be a photographer at a con, which is a great thing because everyone should like get involved with photography, I think.
I mean,
No, it's easier than ever to post up at MCM May with a point and click camera and say, I'm a photographer, I'm going to take pictures.
Yes, but I also feel that's also a very dangerous trap.
Well, this is what I'm going to say, is that like, yeah, you might work with a ton of photographers, and yeah, you might get like, you might spend your whole day outside getting like 8, 10, 12 shoots, but is it going to be work that you're proud of? Is it going to be work you're going to post? Is it going to be work you're comfortable with? I don't know. This is we've gone completely off tangent.
Oh no, but it's part of the experience of paying for a £90 ticket. Are you getting value for money?
If I'm paying £90 to shoot with some photographers, they're going to be photographers I love. They're going to be, work I'm really proud of. It's not going to be, 3 poses in front of a grey wall. Like I don't care. I don't want to pay £90. And like, no shade to anybody that does. Like, I feel like that's a bit harsh, but like,
oh no, there's shade from me. Definitely shade from me.
Personally, I don't want to pay £90 for that. Like, I when I go to con now, when I do go to MCM, I don't shoot with lots of photographers. I shoot with the people I trust, and I shoot with people that have reached out to me and say, hey, I'm coming to MCM May. I really want to work with you. This is my work. And I've gone, oh my God, your stuff's amazing. I want to work with you too. Yeah. I think I'm just over... Yeah, I'm just over... Yeah. I think 90... I'm just over it. No, I just think... if you try and quantify it as like, oh, £90 and you're going to see all these photographers, and I'm like, yeah, but is it like £90 worth of photography? Because
yes, that is
do
with
£90, like you can hire Montrose for a few hours, you can do tank shoot for £90. Like there are things you can do with that money. Anyway,
but I mean, okay, so let me ask you a different question. If you were telling a younger self who has never been to MCM London and wanted to get photos, for a beginner cosplayer, is it still worth it for them to go, just so that, in a sense, to make contact or understand how Comic-Con photography kind of works?
No, because there are better cons to do that at. Nowadays, no. I would say go to MCM Brum because there's less competition, there's better locations, and the photographers still go to that. Go to MegaCon because, again, it's
the same location.
It's the same location. Lots of photographers still go. it's usually less, again, a less competitive. People are still going, you can still talk about it, it's still social. Cos Expo, the big one, Secret Con, like there are all these other conventions you can go to that are better than MCM and are cheaper. And I honestly, the only thing, well, this is going to sound really harsh, but I think the main thing that MCM May has going for it is historically it's the one everybody goes to, and FOMO. I think if you
Yeah.
compare it on paper to any other convention and the price, I just don't think it stands up. I just think you can get similar or better for cheaper. This is why I said I'd be a ray of sunshine on him, because that's my like. I mean, I'm welcome to hear other people's opinions and like, devil's
Yeah.
advocate Eddie, but like, I just think for £90 you could do MegaCon and Cos Expo. You could
Yeah.
do Secret Con, Cos Expo, and probably a day at another con, and then that's all those different types of cosplays you could be wearing. It's loads more photographers you could meet. It's much more interesting and more varied locations. Like the new Secret Con location that's been released looks incredible, and like
Hang
22.
on, are you allowed to talk about it? It's meant to be a secret.
I think it has been released now. Although we love to play the fun game of like trying to work out where it is from just like the little photos they have. We're like, right, okay, because I have like a list of like photography locations in the UK. It's like at 200 places now, so we're always like, quick to the list to see where it is. Because obviously I do a lot of like location and studio stuff, so like I have like this database. I go into like my mind palace of like, I know that banister. We've managed to guess it every single time, so we're like 3 for 3 or whatever. But yeah, no, that location looks amazing. It's got so much variety. It's it's got a social media, like a Facebook group where you can like meet up with photographers, and yeah, it's got its flaws, but like if you're a newbie cosplayer and you're like, I don't know what to do, I want some photos. Number one, you shouldn't rely on photographers. You should get out there and do that yourself. You and your friend get a camera.
Oh yeah,
that's what you need. You don't. This is the other thing. You don't have to have this whole like. You don't have to have like elaborate photography, and like you should cosplay because it's fun and like, again, spiraling. But like, I think there's like this thing of being like a professional cosplayer now, and like it's it's a career or whatever. And no, you don't need to do that to have fun and to be a cosplayer. You can be you and your friend and a camera. But if you do want to get into like getting nice photography and like making connections, I just think there are better opportunities.
I know. I do agree with you all except for one. I think all but one thing. The main thing. I don't think you get better location shots at Birmingham NEC than you do at London XL.
Ooh,
I think the London XL. Absolutely. No, that's fine. We can both have our opinions. I think they both got unique looks. I don't think you could say that you can get the exact same looks. You can tell from one set of photos that that's Birmingham NEC and that set is London XL.
But I think it depends on what you cosplay, because no, that is fair. Like if you, depending on what you cosplay, MCM May probably is better. But no, maybe it's because I know Birmingham better.
Yeah, but also I think it's because London for me, it'll always be London XL. You'll never be anywhere else. It'll always be you'll be at the west side of the entrance. You can go down the stair. You've got the tree area and all that. If you really want to go on the east side and use the hotel area with that purple background hotel, great, and all that. It'll never flip flop.
That's the one thing that MCM does have that London has over Brum. They have the Sunborn.
Oh god, yes, Sunborn as well.
Brum does not have a beautiful gold boat. Like
no, it doesn't.
I will give London that they do have the Sunborn.
But what I was about to say is the NEC location can flip flop from one end to another, and it could be vast. It's not like, oh, it's just the other side of the hall. It's literally the other side of the complex.
Eddie, I had to walk. So I was at one side of the MCM at Birmingham, the NEC, and I was meeting a tog outside by the lake, and I had to walk the whole length of the NEC dressed as a bunny girl past the Yorkshire car show. Luckily, I had a friend with me because it was awful, and that's when I was like, you know what, I get it, I understand, you know what, yeah, okay, it can suck, because normally I'm like, no, it's fine, just walk it, but no, as a bunny girl walking through, I was like, you know what, I get it now.
Yeah, it's like, that's why I don't do planned shoots at Birmingham NEC, because I will not know which end of the because
It doesn't
sometimes
matter where it is though, because there is always like some years
there
are
is
better than
something,
others, but like there's the
but
outside bit, there's the skywalk, there's
yeah.
just more variety, I
Oh,
think.
the Skywalk! I've taken Purple Muffins there when she was in her Nightwing
I've
cosplay.
seen that photo; it's great.
Oh, loved it, loved it. I think we saw that the Travelator was broken. All right, right, we can stand here. No one's going to be walking on it because people are just stand on and go, oh, it's not moving. Well, but just walk then around it. And we had like so many good photos there. Yeah, there's people on the outside, but actually, I could hide them from photos if you
Mm.
get your angles right.
I think you can be more creative at Brum. Like I remember I shot with there was a My Hero Academia cheerleader group, and
Mm,
then it was in the outside court area, which is like the little indoor court bit that you can only get to at
mm,
certain years. But they have basically a rainbow panel from like all the way
yes.
around. So I just put a cheerleader in a different color, and we did this amazing rainbow
Yeah.
thing, and it looked so great. And I was like, I'd never get that at MC. Maybe I'm just not creative enough at MCMA. I don't know, but like,
Mm.
I don't know. I just
Well, that's the challenge I do. Try to do myself. God, that's not. I give myself is actually I try not to do the exact same locations that I'm comfortable with. Sometimes I really try to push myself and really think, how can I make this look a little bit different and have different angles. So, as much as I keep moaning about the grey walls, I've always said it's not the grey wall structure itself I moan about. It's literally people just shooting straight on as a back wall, grey background. That's boring as fuck to me.
yeah.
If you use the edges of each of those pillars, and just make it skewed at an angle, so that pillar type of thing, that gives a nice texture to the background. If you take the angle from the floor up, so you got the roof of the structure, you got nice 90-degree angles there that could really help frame the person with a nice close-up shot type of thing.
I
That's
think
what
the issue, Eddie, is that not all photographers are you, and I think by day 2, these poor photographers are so like deceased from shooting a bazillion. Because again, competitive, they're all trying to fight around each other. They've all shot like 80 people that day, and so it's hard to be creative at that point. Whereas I think at Brum,
I,
it
no, I think maybe I'm projecting my own personal opinion on this, but I think they found a solution which goes point click, so it's easy day for them. That's it. They're not wanting to think creatively. They've like you said, yeah, you're right. They've found a way so that they don't have to be creative. They just want to like pump out, you know, shall we say, 500 photos with minimal effort, literally import into Lightroom, light editing, bam, send it across. Great, that's fine. That's not a problem. I'm not that. If that's how you do it, that's how you do it. That's fine. But for me, I look at someone's costume and think, yes, this Disney princess, of course, let's put you next to the grey wall. That doesn't work for me.
yeah.
It doesn't. It's a Disney princess, right? Can we get you on the sunboard? Can we get on the stair? Oh, okay. Let's get you on the slope of the green grass. Put you some nice bushes, type of thing. That will enhance. It emphasizes the character for me. That's what. Oh god. Anyway, we're talking about photography rather than the value for money. I just realised what we've just
We
done now.
spiral. We always spiral, Eddie.
We always spiral. God, I still need to re-record that Wig 101.
Never do it. Never record. Also, you'll love this. So I was working. Have you seen Trigun yet?
Some of it, not all of it.
Okay, so I basically made knives in 14 hours, and it was a
Oh
mistake.
god.
But I made it in 14 hours, and my mum came round because she was visiting with my sister, and I have this old. It's a lace front Elsa wig that I used to have for princess parties back when I did princess parties. And it is old, it's dead, it's been borrowed by like 3 different people, it's been dunked multiple times. It was dead. And I'm there cutting it to turn it into knives. Is like he's got like an undercut and like spiky top hair. I don't know.
Oh yes, I know who. Yeah.
So I was basically cutting into that, and my mum was like, oh, "You're ruining such a beautiful wig," and I was like, "Excuse me, have you seen this wig? This is not beautiful. No, it was like just a mass at the bottom, but it made me laugh. Yeah,
Jesus Christ. We're dangerously running out of time on the podcast. I think I know what I'm going to ask you in the podcast extra,
ooh,
and I'm going to see in our podcast extra if I can convince Lydia. For obviously, it's too late now. What would it take for Lydia to go back to MCM London? Now we'll hold the answers for that But I just want to say, if you want to listen to that podcast, go to my Patreon page. I'll do the links and all that. But Lydia, thank you very much for being on the podcast. It's quite interesting listening to you talk about MCM in this fashion. I think those who've listened to it might find it a bit refreshing to hear.
I'm really sorry if I was too negative, but
No. Look, I've always said about this podcast, I don't need manufactured answers. I want an honest, not even debate. It is a debate, but just an open conversation about these topics. And if these are what you're saying, these are what you're saying. I don't want people to go, I love MTN. Oh my God, it's so good. And just hearing that from every person. You may generally say, I love it. Great, that's great for you. But if something changes, I want to know why, and I want to talk about it. Hence why this podcast is called Ed Talks About. Anyway.
Like I said,
so,
I've always had a good time at MCM London. I'll never not have a good time, but the question was specifically, is it worth it? And I think that's why maybe I've come across as like a bit negative. But if people want to come and shout at me in my DMs, I would love to hear other people's opinions and, come convince me to come back. Because, come back. I'm missing 1 year because last year I did go, even though I said I wouldn't. So that was different though. So I got very lucky with a last minute cheap hotel and I got Creator. So I applied for Creator. So...
that's the other thing I was going to talk about very quickly. So we're not going to end it. We're just going to do one more thing. Okay, so is there anything we can do to cheap hack our experience to MCM London? I think we said about earlier about if you're going to do hotels, there are alternatives such as Airbnb. Is there any others or any other tips you would do?
Oh, to make MCM more affordable?
Yeah, like the trip to MCM London.
I would say either stay a little bit further out. There's a random. It's the other end of the DLR. I cannot remember the name of the hotel, but there is a cheap hotel there. There's also just getting an Airbnb with your friends, making it as long as you're not going crazy and like shoving 20 people in at like a 1-bedroom flat. Like sharing it with friends. We do a thing called con spaghetti, which is where we go to like Tesco and we buy all the ingredients for spaghetti, and that's what we eat. Because when you split spaghetti amongst 8 people, it comes out to like £2 each, and we have a really nice time. We sit in the Airbnb, we cook spaghetti together. like that's one way. I don't drink, so the Fox has never appealed to me, so that's another way to save money. Like I said, it's like going to Disneyland. You can make it cheaper. So I would say stay further out or stay with friends and split the cost. Split the cost wherever you can when it comes to food, fuel, accommodation. Me personally, I spend all my money in Artist Alley, so I can't help there because I'm a sucker for art.
Okay, hang on. Whilst I remember then, would you still dare ask the vendors, especially in Artist Alley, for maybe a deal?
No. Oh, God, no. No, these are independent artists. There is no way I would try and take their livelihoods from them. There's no way. That's somebody's like livelihood that pays their rent. They're a small independent person. I would feel awful if I was like, hey, give me a deal. Like, I know. Splitting the costs. Oh, also, one from a cosplay perspective, rewear your cosplays. You do not need to make a brand new expensive cosplay every single con. Like,
what?
I know, mind-boggling. But yeah, I did just say that I made knives in 14 hours, but I did make them out of an old wig, some old stretch leggings, and bed sheets. So if you are going to make a new cosplay, rewear.
Use what you got. Yeah, reuse what you got. Destroy someone else's. Yeah.
Yeah, or do something comfy on the Sunday. We spend all this money and time building these beautiful cosplays. Wear them more than once. That's a great way to save money. And it also is a great way to avoid con crunch because you don't have to crunch it if you already have it. Rewear, split the cost where you can, stay further out if you have to. There's no shame in, bringing a packed lunch.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's lots of ways to do it cheaper, but it's hard to get around that accommodation and that ticket price. That's the main thing. It's just hard for anybody to try and beat that.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And I think the other thing I was going to say was if you can't go on public transport because you've got big gear. Parking underneath the XL, the last time I parked there was £20 a day. So
when I lived in Reading, I had too many bad experiences on trains by myself. So I got to the point where I would drive from Reading to London. And it used to be before there was a congestion charge on, I think there is now every day, but there wasn't congestion charge on some days. Or you didn't used to go through the congestion charge. Anyway, driving in And then that used to be an affordable way around it, because then it's only 20 quid for parking rather than, £200 for a hotel.
The only reason I mentioned about the £20 a day, because you can split that cost between people.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got 5 people in there, all right, the train would be cheaper anyway. But like I said, if you've got big bulky stuff, or you just want something to store so that you
It's
can
so
go.
handy having somewhere to put your stuff.
Oh my! You have no idea how much it's like. Now that I train in from West to East London, I've got nowhere to store my stuff. I'm relying on either shop vendors to either hold my stuff, or like literally just hold on to it so I don't lose it. Like, I keep an eye on it wherever I go. Although I have said in a previous podcast, I just dump it and just leave it for about like 5-10 minutes and come back to go. Oh, the bag is still here. That's cool.
Well, I know who I'm robbing on May MCM.
No, you're not, because you're not there.
Oh well, maybe I will be if it means I get a camera gear. I'll text Amy and be like, you know what, Scotland's off. I've got a man to rob.
Oh, I miss Amy. Even though I've never met her, I love her on the podcast.
We have such a fun. We call it the MCM FOMO squad, but we are having our own little Scotland trip, and it's going to be great.
Yes, absolutely. Well, on that note, we're definitely ending the podcast. If people need to find you on the social media, send you a bit of hate, or try to convince you to come, if they have not listened to the podcast section, send you hate. Where can they find you on the social medias?
I am Celery Moon Designs on. Oh my god! Wait, hold on. Let me start again. I am Celery Moon Designs on Instagram and Tumblr and Facebook, and I am Broken Phone Girl on Twitter. I do not have a TikTok. Do not listen to Eddie if he says I do.
Sarah Moon does have one. It might be called Lusty Moon Design, but let's not. We won't go down that road. If people need to find me on the social medias, if you go to foodandcosplay.org/links, that's where you'll find my social media links. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find previous podcast.
No, you're messing up.
I know, I'm going to start that again. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find previous recorded podcasts with Lydia on different subjects, with like other guests and other subjects, things like that, blah, 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 blah. If you go to foodandcosplay.org generally, you'll find daily photos that I've taken at different Comic-Cons, one at MCM London, Birmingham, MegaCon Live, those type of events. If you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, you'll be able to donate £2 to help produce these podcasts, help fund these things, and also listen to the podcast extra where I'm trying to convince Lydia to come to the next MCM London if I can. So keep an ear out for that one. But otherwise, if you don't listen to that one, thank you much, Lydia, for being on this podcast. I hope you enjoy talking about your hateful
I
MCM
don't
London.
hate it.
How much you hate everyone there, especially the photographers there, especially those who go to the other ones. So if other photographers have heard this, Lydia saying she hates you all, she never wants to be
you can get me cancelled.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Please take my picture.
She hates you all. She hates you all. And on that note, she doesn't. No. On that note, we're gonna say goodbye. So I'm gonna say goodbye, and she's gonna say goodbye. So bye, guys.
Bye.
Cancel her.